The Hustle Share podcast is sponsored by One CFO, the Philippines' leading fractional CFO services provider for startups, scale-ups, and SMEs. Experience the power of tech-enabled, efficient, affordable, and expert-led fractional CFO services. Let One CFO handle your finances so you can focus on growing your business. Book your free CFO consultation today.
Minsan pa may mga lasing dyan, ay ginamit ko na yung produkto mo, walang kwenta. So, hindi ka marunong, you don't know how to handle it. Pero because of that training, up to this day, gamit na gamit ko siya. For partners, for anything. So, sa sales side, yun yung nagamit ko. And then, eventually, after Syngenta, I started working for Universal Robina.
You took the job na. Different go lang. Different go.
Hindi ko na kinatok yung bahay ni Vincent ko.
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Baetiong.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Share Podcast. I'm super excited because this guy is the most distinct guy in the startup ecosystem. You would be an idiot if you did not see this guy in an event. It's easy to spot. I always just look up. He's the guy with a fancy hat every single time. But again, I've had multiple conversations with him over the years. And I said, I think it's about time. I think he's bled enough in the startup ecosystem. And I'm super excited to have him on the show. Let's welcome to the show the founder and CEO of Farmvocacy, Mr. Vincent Mendoza. Whoop, whoop. Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey Ron, thanks for having me.
Okay, before I even get carried away and ask you the $1 million question, I've been wanting to ask you this. I'm pretty sure a shit ton of people also want to ask you this. What's with the hat? How come that is your go-to look? How did the hat even start off?
Oh, good question. So, the first time I joined an incubator program, it was Idea Space. So back then, of course, we were the batch 8, the pandemic batch cohort. So, since I'm based in Mindoro, and the internet connectivity is limited, so I had to walk 1.5 kilometers during a learning session.
1.5 kilometers? That's why you're bata?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, syempre, mainit sa bukid eh. So, I had to wear a hat. And then, pag learning session, I always keep forgetting to remove my hat. And then, one time when I went to an event, for the first time in person, Sir Butch of Idea Space, I introduced myself. He said, "Sir, I'm Vincent, the founder of Farmvocacy." And then he was like, "Oh my goodness, where's your hat?" So I was like, "Oh, I only use it for Mindoro because it's hat." No, you should always wear it because it's been already your branding. Okay, sir. So that's why I always use my hat.
That's amazing. It's Butch Maylis' fault pala. Okay. Yeah. That is so amazing. Now again, sorry, I just had to go straight to the shock. It's like, why is this guy wearing a hat? No, it's a great branding. I know it's you right away. You. I can see you in a crowd right away, easily. The other guy is the co-founder of Maria Sokgang. I forget. Erwin. He's a giant. He stands head and shoulders above all, technically. But again, the other one that I can see easily in a crowd, like say it's a Philippine Startup Week, is you. You're always a lighting pole. But before I get carried away, I need to ask you the $1 million question. Vincent, what's your hustle?
So what I do for life is to empower smallholder grain farmers in the Philippines and eventually, hopefully, in Southeast Asia by bringing back their sense of agency. So it means that their ability to make a decision on when to sell, how much to sell, and who to sell to their produce. So we do this through reducing emission from rice production or farming and commodity-backed financing. So basically, we categorize ourselves as a climate fintech startup.
Climate fintech startup. I love it. And again, anything that pertains to helping farmers is it's actually double impact. Aside from fintech, aside from climate, there's an impact angle to this all the time, because this is one of the most complex problems that's out there. I've been exposed to this, and what I love about your story is that you've been here long enough, 4 or 5 years now, more or less, at least in the farm advocacy angle. But before we even talk about that, I need to ask you to buckle up real quick, because before you even decided to become a startup founder, you've been through the rounds and been hustling all over the place. Because we're going to have to go all the way back now, because we're going to have to ride the Hustle Share Time Machine. All right, Tito Vincent. Again, you know he's a Tito because he gave himself away. I didn't even call him out. It's like, I'm sorry about my email. Full name with a dot. Not only Titos use. It's not first name at domain name.
I know.
Yeah. His email is vincent.mendoza@farmadvocacy. Oh, di ba? Ang galing. Just kidding. But again, not carbon dating you. I'm also old. But I need to understand first, where did the first exposure to hustle come from your end? Because I want to understand, like, I'm assuming you're homegrown. What was that like growing up?
Yeah, it's looking back, I think the story started from my childhood. So we have a big family, 13 children from my dad's side.
13?
No.
One mother or different mothers though?
No, and then from my mom's side, there's 7 of us.
Okay.
So, but we get along well, the entire family.
Yeah.
And
where are you in the pecking order, in the sequence, sir? Panganay? Are you middle somewhere?
My mom is the last, and got married to my dad. So there are 7 of us. I'm second to the eldest.
Okay.
The eldest son. So I have an ate.
You're a Dico. You're a Dico. Or first.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the eldest guy. Ayan.
Yes.
Right. You're like Lance pala. Lance Gokongwei. You had an ate before. No, Lance is the second born after Rubina.
Oh, yes. But he's the only son. So in our case, there are 3 guys in the 7. So I was actually trying to because what I do is kind of different and difficult. So I tried to trace it back on where it started. And it started when I was young. So among the 7, pag nag-away kami ng ate ko, at one time, he teased me. Sabi niya, did you know that you're just a foster child? Like,
Ampon.
Really?
She used the Ampon card. Ayan.
I know. And then I said, what's your basis? She said, look at everyone. All of us.
You're the one who only has a hat. Ikaw lang yung may hat.
Hindi, wala pang hat nun. Pero sabi niya, everybody starts their name with the letter C. And you, letter V. You're really a foster child. And I was like, I run to my parents' room and I ask, totoo po ba?
Okay.
Only to find out that I was the first grandchild or grandson of my lolo, whose name is Vicente. And that's why I was named Vincent. So back then pa lang, sabi ko, and even growing up, I feel different because magiinuman pag weekend, di ako sasama. Kung aalis yung magpipinsan, di ako sasama. So I feel like I always tend to be
contrarian.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an outlier or I just like my space.
Yeah.
So I've been like that ever since.
Mhm.
And then when we were when we were still the children, yung mom ko kasi entrepreneurial. Okay? So we're not rich, but I think I was able to witness yung hustling sa
There you
mom
go.
side ko.
Okay.
Because at the time, I still remember, my father used to run a manufacturing company, yung mga rattan, handicraft.
Okay.
And then nagsara.
Oh,
So we
no.
had to sell the plant. So to make ends meet, yung mom ko naghahanap ng mga sidelines. Like for example, yung mga overrun namin na exported tin cans.
Okay.
Pinaglinis na kami nun. And then we had to paint it para lang to resell. Until such time that we get to sell yung 2 containers. I think 2 or 4 containers.
Grabe.
So, of course, there's 7 of us. We need to go to school.
Right.
And then, when we were child, lagi kami pinapadala sa probinsya, sa Mindoro. So I got exposed to the farmers. And then at one time, she started collecting a type of weed that you can see in the rice field. It looks like rice, pero it's actually a pest.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
he picked it up, he collected it, kinulayan niya yung dye color. And then binenta niya yan sa mga papamil roti, designer blue.
Wow.
And then syempre minsan nung inutusan ka ng bata, isasama ka magdi-deliver eh. So sasakay kami ng bus or minsan yung aming Astro, Ford, di-deliver namin yon. My God, nilalabas ko na edad ko dito.
No worries, it's okay, Tito.
So nakita ko yung I saw how she tried her best to sustain the family.
Yeah.
And even yung mga umbrella sa Starbucks, sa Seattle's Best, ginawa niya yun.
Grabe.
Kahit sa Antonio's, yung mga foldable, anything na pagkakakitaan, ginawa niya. To the point that she even asked one of our aunt who works for a mango export company in Mindanao. Can you send me mangoes here so that my children can sell it to the neighborhood? So we'd go out to sell it to our neighborhood. Siyempre, unahin namin yung mga kaibigan namin, yung mga magulang nila. So, doon nag-umpisa yung journey as an entrepreneur. Hindi ko alam naman magiging entrepreneur, but basically, that planted a seed for me to start to learn how to sell. And then, after graduating, galit na galit yung mami ko. Kasi, I graduated as agriculture in UP Los Baños.
Okay.
And then, my first job, naka-long sleeves ako, naka-necktie.
Okay.
You know what I was selling?
What?
I was selling a home security system. Sabi ng mami, pinag-aral-aral pa kita, yan lang din pala gagawin mo. So, I would carry brochures.
Yeah.
I would wear necktie.
Yep.
And then, there's a funny story.
Okay.
One time, I think this one, yung resilience and not taking no for an answer started. So I started knocking on this door, bahay, sa PhilInvest.
Which PhilInvest? My Commonwealth?
Yes, PhilInvest 1. So, PhilInvest 1.
Okay.
So lumabas yung daddy. Sabi, ano yun? Sabi na, necktie, di ba? Sir, I'm here to protect your family.
Whoa! Superhero yan.
Di ba? So, what do you mean? Linggo-linggo, bibisita ka dito. No, sir, I'm here to offer you a home security system. Para pagka nasa office ka, tapos may burglar, manonotify ka sa phone mo or through text na may pumasok. So sabi niya, please don't bother me. This is my only time for my family.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if his name is, I don't know if his name is indeed Johnson Go. And then the following week, dahil hinindihan niya ako, kumatok ulit ako.
Wow.
So sabi niya, you know what? I like your persistence. Let's just do this. Here's my card. Go to my office this coming week. So I went to his office.
Okay.
Siya pala yung nag-head ng Robinson Supermarket.
Wait, the Go as a brother of Mr. John Go Kong
I'm
Wei?
not sure if it's a brother.
Or it's one of the
Sure
Go's.
he's related to the Kokong Wei. By the way, you also work for URC eventually.
Yeah, that's where we're getting that to that
Yeah,
too.
so
wow.
He offered me a job. Sabi niya, we have a management trainee program here.
Okay.
Like your persistence, and I'd like to offer you a job.
Ikaw na budol. Okay.
Sir, thank you for the offer, but I'm really here to protect your family.
You did not take it?
I know.
What the fuck?
Kasi walang alam di ba? Tapos,
Okay.
I taking no for an answer. You need to buy from me first, something like that. So, to cut the long story short, hindi siya bumili. Hindi ko rin kinuha yung trabaho.
What the hell? Sayang. What?
So that's where it all started. And then lastly, I failed 5th grade. Sabi nga ni Susan Roses, di ba? Not once, but pero hindi naman twice.
Okay, once lang.
So
what was the subject that got you to fail?
Language and spelling.
Oh.
So, pero I learned something during that time, no? After I failed. Kasi nung high school, naka-perfect ako ng exam.
Okay.
Sabi ko, kailangan lang pala mag-aral. Hindi kasi ako nag-aaral nung elementary kasi I like
memorize
basketball, puro sports. So, and then one time, this story, I learned something that if things don't go your way, find ways to make things work.
Correct.
So one time on a Friday afternoon, normally sinusundo kami ng parents namin. Or at least ng driver at the time, no? Nung may kaya pa sila. Tumawag ako kasi alas 8 na, wala pa rin sundo ko.
Hello.
So tawag ko sa bahay. Daddy, anong oras ako susunduin? Ay, sorry anak, naghahaponan lang kami. Pagtapos kumain, sunduin ka namin. Kinabukasan, umaga na. Andun pa rin ako sa may security guard. Hindi ako nasundo.
Hala.
I had to walk all the way for 5 kilometers just to go home.
What?
So I said yung time ko yun, lalakarin ko na lang. So I learned to, pagka it doesn't go your way, find ways to do stuff. So yan yung childhood ko. And I learned from my mom and then from my dad naman. He's a pastor eventually after changing to a spiritual life.
Yeah.
He became a pastor. And then pagka may problema, pagka hindi niya kayang, basta gagawin niya yung best niya. Pag hindi niya na kaya, pag out of his control na, he will leave it up to the Lord. So I think that was very helpful, especially for founders like us. Kasi sometimes I'll tell you a story about sa Shell later.
Yeah. You can only do so much.
Huh?
You can only do so much, right?
Yeah, so ganon. I'll just do my best and pag hindi ko na control, let God do the rest. So,
I love it.
That's my childhood.
No, I really love what you said. It foundational in every step of the way. Because again, you already said that you had tendencies being contrarian. You can't be a successful entrepreneur if you don't have tendencies of being a contrarian. Because if you come into a market and you want to be an entrepreneur, I'm not saying you should be contrarian because it's gonna be difficult if you just follow at the trend. Like for example, old school, computer shop or Zagu before. If you're not going to be contrarian in nature, you're just going to go into a market and it's going to be a war of attrition. Everybody's going to be net negative, right? Being contrarian means that you see opportunities that are different. So by being that contrarian sibling among the rest, you're already taking the path that's less taken. It's going to be hard. And this is what I realized, that entrepreneurship in a contrarian nature is life in hard mode. Pero it's high risk, high reward, right? Because now you see that. And I love that you also told us the story about how foundational your experiences were helping out your mom and dad. I can actually totally relate because I was also raised by a single mom who was a racketista. She had a full-time job. Well, my God, every weekend, whenever she can find extra cash and whatnot to sell or whatever that might be, I'll be there to help her out. But one thing that I remember just really, I can't even. One thing that I learned also from my mom, and this is something that I'm totally grateful for. Because I saw how, hindsight being 2020, I just realized how hard what she was doing because she didn't have rest. 9 to 5, she was commuting. So she would leave the house to be able to get to work at 9, probably around 6. Because the traffic, we worked in QC, she worked in Makati. So the commute, she brought all these goodies that she can sell in the office, mga tinapay, whatever the hell those are, chichiria. So we had it's basically an extension of our sari store at home. So already had a sari store. Extra shit that will, I think, what hindsight being 2020, that was just for my baon. So she didn't have to worry about my baon anymore. Okay, so got that done. She would come home, leave 5. She was never late. And then she'd be home probably around 7. Her only rest is watching drama after TV Patrol. Ayan, the drama, the 2 to 3 dramas that she's gonna watch. And then, yeah, the primetime drama. That's why I know all the dramas because she watched that shit. That's her time. Okay, I'll let you watch your drama. But then after that, the whole thing, she's able to do that. And then during the weekends, whenever there's a racket, she would sell other stuff, whatever. But one thing that I don't remember her doing is she never complained. Or maybe she did, but I did not hear it. And that's one thing that as an entrepreneur, I bring to every single thing. And I value people that I work with that also have the same trait. Because I've also seen people who hard worker nga, magaling, brilliant, motherfuckers complain. And it completely, rains on everybody's parade. My mom never complained. So I can totally relate with you. She never said, napagod na ako, whatever. She never complained. So it's like, who the fuck am I to complain? Diba? I love it. Just, these are the things that, that's how you do it pala. You hustle hard for the people you love. You have a clear why, but you never complain. Because you asked for it. You signed up for it. This is a means to what you want to achieve. And if you don't complain and you really, not saying that you don't complain if you see something wrong, you don't complain. The lesson here is you do something about it with the right attitude. Don't yapper out about like, fuck this, I'm so unfair. There's no entitlement to how it is. So I love it, and I can absolutely relate. But last question before we take our first break. I also love that you did sales as the first job, right? And it's very important because I too did sales as my first job. Entrepreneurship is a game of persuasion and game of getting rejection, right? It's the same game. The only difference is you're selling your own shit, right? But what were the skill sets that you were also able to master early on in your career? Sayang talaga, you didn't take the job from Mr. Johnson Go. But what were the other skills that were foundational that you were able to unlock in your very first few stints?
Yeah, so after that home security system career, wala man ako nabenta yung buwisit.
What a pitch naman kasi, I'm here to protect your family.
I know. So I started working for a multinational company. So it's a Swiss company. I think now they were bought by a different country.
Syngenta. Is this Syngenta?
Okay, got it. Yeah, Syngenta. Mm-hmm. So there, we were trained how to do persuasive selling skills.
Got it.
Kung nakapag-training lang ako noon, nagbebenta ako ng security system, marami na sana ako naprotektahan na pamilya.
Wow. Superhero.
Kidding aside. So, at that time, we were taught how to do persuasive selling skills.
Got it.
To agri-supply stores where farmers buy inputs.
Okay.
At the same time, we were also taught how to do group selling skills on how to present to a group of farmers. Minsan pa may mga lasing dyan, ay ginamit ko na yung produkto mo, walang kwenta. So, hindi ka marunong, you don't know how to handle it. Pero because of that training, up to this day, gamit na gamit ko siya. For partners, for anything. So, sa sales side, yun yung nagamit ko. And then, eventually, after Syngenta, I started working for Universal Robina.
You took the job na. Different go lang. Different go.
Hindi ko na kinatok yung bahay ni Vincent ko. So, I applied for the job. And then at that time, they were launching C2. So, it's an innovation for the first time. Introducing tea, cold beverage. No? So, at the time, we were assigned to penetrate yung mga sari-sari stores, restaurants, school canteen, to introduce C2 and all the other beverages. So, good enough, na-train na ako sa selling skills. So, I remember one time, may tinatrain akong ahente. Binibenta namin yung refresh in a cup na water.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember that. But,
I just drank one last week. So I thought, malaki na siya. It's like this now. It's like a mismo, Coke mismo.
Pero ang hirap ibenta nun. Nang 2 piso na yun.
Because?
Ang hirap ibenta. Kasi pwede mabutas. Tapos,
right.
Ganun ba? Tapos, bagong packaging.
Yeah.
So, pagbenta nung tinatrain kong hente, sir, hindi talaga natin mabibenta to. Nabalik tayo dun sa customer. So, I demonstrated to him, bumili, 10 bucks.
Okay.
So, I demonstrated to him that selling is actually a skill that you can develop.
Right.
And it really started with empathizing and understanding the pain points ng customer or buying motive. So, yun yung sa sales part. And then, eventually, I transferred to marketing in URC, handling sports brand. And then, in addition to that, I was also given an opportunity to handle a parang corporate planning. So basically, preparing the financials, consolidating the financials of the different categories for my general manager's presentation to the board. So, at the time, nagtitake ako ng MBA.
Okay.
Iba yung MBA sa real world eh.
Yep.
So, one time, sabi nung my mentor and my general manager, Benny Sanchez, Vince, what do you see in the numbers?
Okay.
So, wala pa experience eh.
Wala pang chat GPT rin.
I see a positive profit, sir. Sabi niya. Tapos, from there, sabi niya, I need to teach you a lot of things. So from there, I learned about analyzing the financials, looking at the trends. If you're asking for 20% increase in marketing budget, ideally your sales revenue should translate into more than 20%, something like that.
Right.
So I had a very good training in URC and in Syngenta. And I think up to this day, I get to use those skills.
Love it. These are the foundational skills that would prepare you to become a founder. Now let's take our first break, and when we come back, we will now talk about, again, the URC hustle and also how you decided to now take a leap of faith to become a founder. But let's talk about that more after the break. Hey hustlers, ever feel like your money's flowing in, but your profits are nowhere to be seen? Is managing your cash a constant source of stress, leaving you anxious about day-to-day operations? Or maybe you're holding back on growth because you're unsure if your finances are really stable. The real problem? You don't have a clear picture of your finances. Without a strategic financial partner, you're basically operating in the dark, always one step away from hidden pitfalls. But what if you had a seasoned fractional CFO who understands these challenges and gives you clear and straightforward steps to increase profits and grow steadily without the cost of a full-time CFO? That's what One CFO delivers. One CFO combines the strategic thinking of experienced CFOs with their own cutting-edge CFO tech platform, giving you transparent, real-time insights that empower you to make smart moves. They're the go-to fractional CFO partner for growing companies like Quick Insure, Avion School, JLabs, Advance, OneLot, Colorette, and Stash, helping them conquer financial challenges and achieve remarkable growth. Imagine having a crystal clear view of your financial performance and the confidence to execute bold, growth-driving strategies. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description or go to onecfoph.co. That's onecfoph.co right now to book your free no-obligation consultation. Gain clarity in your finances and grow your business with confidence. Click the link or visit onecfoph.co today. And we're back from the break. We are still with Vincent Mendoza and told us the amazing origin story that he started out with. But before we carry on about the next steps in your career, I want to double down in URC because this is also, if not the longest, one of the longest tenures you've had, other than becoming a founder and running a family business. When you worked in a conglomerate, I've seen several outcomes come through. It's either number one, you become a lifer. You love the thing so much that I'm gonna be here forever. I'll become a lifer, or stay there for a long time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I hindsight being 2020, Vincent, honestly, like, man, sometimes I ask myself now, like, where would I have ended up if I didn't take the plunge? Because I realized I thought this was the old Kool-Aid I told myself. Nah, as an entrepreneur, that's the most surefire way to become mayaman. And I see a lot of wealthy ass motherfuckers. They didn't even have to take the leap. They have less stress. They have balance per se. Pero what they relinquish was control. That's what you get as an entrepreneur. You have full control over that shit. Not everybody's built for it. But I realized, man, if I just probably did sales siguro and whatnot, I would have probably been more okay and I have less shit to worry about nowadays. But I'm not worried. Whenever I think that, I realize, nah, I'm too contrarian. I want to call my own shots. So for me, one of the things I really love, and for me to really put my all-out effort for it, I'm a terrible employee. I can't do shit for somebody. I have authority problems. Pasaway ako. Number two, I can only put it this much effort if it was something I started. If I did not start it, it's hard for me to go all in. I can't drink somebody else's Kool-Aid. It has to be my Kool-Aid. And the rest just follows. But the lesson here is that as an entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong also by carving out your career, probably even surpassing what an entrepreneur would make, because my God, a lot of us are broke. As an entrepreneur, you think mayaman kami? No. We're fucking broke. What are you talking about? So salary is what gets you stable. And companies like URC, conglomerates, are the most stable anchors you can do. And you can do a tweener, like our parents, raketista on the side entrepreneur or whatnot. But while you were in URC, was there a point, Vincent, where you felt like, shit, if I stayed here long enough, I'd be a lifer? Or was it really a stepping stone to what you wanted to achieve down the road?
I think it's more of a foundational journey yung URC. But even as early as the Syngenta time, I already envisioned myself not to be retiring for a company.
Got it.
So I was just maybe I wasn't just aware that I was looking for an opportunity on how to make a living outside of being in employment. But I remember back in the days in Syngenta, yung regional sales manager namin, he would be out in the field for Monday to Friday. And then from Isabela, he'll drive back to Los Baños just to be with his family.
Wow.
And then on Sunday night, he'll drive back again. So technically, one night lang siya sa family niya. So I was thinking, a job is a way of living.
Correct.
It's not the other way around. So how come that you work so hard for your family and yet you don't spend so much time with your family?
Correct.
So if ever, at the time, I told myself, if ever I'd have a family, I think the best way to have a career is something na may freedom ka that you can spend more time with your family.
Correct.
Pero hindi ko, basta naghihintay lang ako ng opportunity. And then, nung time na yon, dumating yung opportunity na yon na nasa URC ako.
Okay.
Na to move away from being in employment.
Got it. And what did that come from? Because after URC, you still did Monsanto in Alabang.
Correct. So, yung Monsanto days is actually a transition. Na, half of your
half na lang.
Sa entrepreneurial na. Tapos yung kalahati, andun pa sa employment, you're not sure kasi kung magtutuloy-tuloy yung business eh.
Correct.
So, yun yung ginawa ko noon. Yun yung, back in URC, I was the category head of a sports drinks.
Which one?
Crush. And then, tsaka yung other energy drink na nawala din sa market.
Got it.
No, pero kasi yan, ini-envision ni Mr. John na magkaroon ng ganung category for UIC for beverage. So, I was handling that. And I met he's very popular now. A runner with a
Run Rio?
Yeah, Run Rio.
Okay.
So I met him. I sponsored the event for him. And then we went to a vacation in Bantayan Island.
Yep, Cebu.
At the time, in Cebu. At the time, he was just starting. So I said, maybe, what do you think if I leave URC and then I'll help you out? We can grow this business together. And then he agreed. So I was grateful for the opportunity to have the opportunity to become an entrepreneur.
With him. So you were co-founders with Rio.
At the time, I didn't know what the co-founder is all about.
Okay.
So basta meron siyang company, mag-work kami together. Sole proprietor yung company niya.
Oh.
So we work together and then pagdating sa profit, we share naman.
Okay.
So, and then at the time, lumaki yung event. We were starting 800 runners per week and then it became 15,000 to 25,000 per week. So
yeah, are you guys the one gumagawa sa Skyway before?
Yes. Yung mga Kultura Marathon. Yeah. So that was our event at the time.
Okay.
So we did the first night run with Kenny Rogers. So it was a good experience to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Pero employed pa rin ako noon.
Tweener.
And then lumaki na maganda na yung income, parang stable na siya. One time, nagkaroon kami ng hindi magandang feedback from the runners. Nawala yung race kit. hindi na-deliver on time, so tumakbo siya na walang number, yung mga ganun ba?
Okay.
Ako yung naka-in-charge dun eh. Siya sa race, ako yung
operations.
So, dun na yung, at the time, parang dun pa lang yata nag-uumpisa yung mga bashing eh. Diba? So, nung nabash kami nung mga 2010, 2009, di na ako nakatulog.
Oh no.
So, and then, minsan, pagka-weekend, ang daming, magandang kita sa fun run.
Yeah.
No? Ang dami kong pera, pero parang feeling ko empty ako. Tapos may nagbabash pa. Tapos, sabi ko sa kanya, one time, tigilan kaya natin to.
Oh no.
Bakit? Grabe yung bashing eh. And then may sinabi siya na nag-stick sa mind ko. Sabi niya, no, I'll do this for life. This is the purpose of why I'm here. And then, pag-isip ako, sabi ko, I'm just here for the money. So, I said, bakit siya may purpose? Ako wala. So, at that time, I started to think na maybe I should find my own. So, what is it that I already have a skill, that I like doing? And even back then, when I was still a student, my favorite subject is actually sustainable agriculture. So, sabi ko, maybe I should look for an inspiration about sustainable agriculture. Somebody who's making profit from running a sustainable farm. And then maybe I can go back to promoting sustainable farm inputs to farmers. Kasi may training naman ako dyan eh.
Got it.
So, yun yung naging path. I attended training sa Costales Farm. Nakita ko, kumikita sila. And then, I started selling also my own vegetable. Sabi ko, bago siguro ako mag-farm, magbenta muna ako ng gulay. Kinausap ko si late Ronald Costales during that time. Sabi ko, sir, baka pwede akong bumili sa'yo. Tapos magbebenta muna ako. Pag may market na ako, tsaka ako magpa-farm.
Okay.
So, bili ako ng mga samples from him. Dinala ko sa mga hotels. Only to find out, siya na pala nagsusupply doon.
Oh no. You're competing against him.
Oo. So sabi ko, siguro magbebenta muna ako ng hindi mo na organic. Subukan ko muna yung palengke. So bumili ako ng isang truck ng gulay sa Sariaya, Quezon. And then nagpwesto ako sa palengke sa Balintawak.
Okay.
Beside
the botcha.
Only to find out again. No?
Okay.
Magagabi na, wala pa rin bumibili sa akin.
Why?
Kasi sa palengke pala, ang sistema dyan, isuki system.
Correct.
So, nalugi. And then sabi ko, wow, hindi pwede to. Nauubos na yung pera ko kakaganito. So, and then I started, sabi ko, siguro para maganda yung hindi perishable. Okay. So I started selling organic fertilizer. So I found an organic fertilizer manufacturer. Sabi ko, I have the marketing and selling skills. Can we sell this in my area? And then, so true enough, I was able to sell it to the farmers.
Okay.
I was able to sell it to the agri-supply kung saan bumibili yung farmers. Kasi may skills ako to sell Pero, may problema. Seasonal kasi ang paggamit ng organic fertilizer.
Correct.
In 12 months, sa isang taon, June lang yan at saka December.
Twice a year.
So you can imagine yung cash flow.
Correct.
Diba? So, yun, dun na sorry for the term, leche-leche.
No, that's fine. That's what entrepreneurship is. Leche-leche. That's actually lightweight pa. I would have fucked up. I would have used everything, got fucked up. Okay?
So, in 2014, nagkaanak na kami nung fiancé ko.
Okay.
And then, yung cash flow, hindi maganda.
Hala.
So, to cut the long story short, nagkahiwalay kami. Naubos lahat nung napundar ko. I had to sell yung car ko. Lahat ng mga, lahat,
Yeah.
naubos. To the point na nag-end up ako ng may utang. Dun sa aking supplier ng organic fertilizer to almost ₱1 million.
Oh my God.
So, I had to go to the owner and tell him upfront, I'm sorry, sir, I had a mistake. Yung cash flow wasn't enough. And naubos ako. So, pero eventually nabayaran ko rin yung manufacturer na yon. And dito na nag-evolve na kailangan pala ang business when you create a business model, cash flow is really important.
The only thing that matters, honestly.
So that's why it evolved from selling organic fertilizer into maybe I said maybe I should sell rice. Kasi yung rice, araw-araw yan eh. So magbebenta ako ng organic fertilizer sa farmer. Bibilin ko yung produce nila. Ibebenta ko yung rice. So I started a campaign in November 19, 2019.
Pre-pandemic.
Under Farm Advocacy brand.
Okay.
Now, maybe you can donate 1,000 or 5,000 pesos. Gagamitin natin to para magkaroon ng inputs yung farmers. So may benta na ako. Tapos, in exchange, i-deliver ko sa inyo bilang kabayaran ng 5,000 ninyo is rice.
Yeah.
So yun yung initial campaign. So, and then nag-apply na ako sa Idea Space and then doon na nag-start.
I have a question though.
Go ahead.
Where I don't love that you failed. Everybody has to go through it, but there's something about failure and not being just bankrupt, being negative, that either crushes you or molds you. So here's what I mean. So I also failed. My first startup failed. Did that for 6 years. Also, the reason why it failed is a bevy of a lot of small mistakes compounded into a lot. Then you just run out of moves. Wala na. Deads. But I did not really want to go back to entrepreneurship right away because I also had bills to pay, mouths to feed. I want to understand first, what was in your mind when you were in that moment? You have a baby to feed, you're negative. Why did you pursue entrepreneurship still and do farm advocacy instead of going back to corporate? It's like, I tried it and I don't want to do it again. Because the reason why I'm asking you this is because I have a lot of peers during my era of Startup PH. Okay, and I'm telling this story because a lot of us will fail too. Whoever's doing startups right now, 90% or 95% of you guys will probably fail. It's that hard. Pero the ones that I see eventually have a triumph are the ones that try again. So one of the things that are very, very important as entrepreneurs is that, again, in my era of Startup PH, I'll just give an example. Back then, Kickstart was actually an incubator like Idea Space. Incubator accelerator. There were 2 to 3 batches that they funded. And just like Idea Space, sorry to say, out of every batch, if not everyone, almost everyone died. Nobody survived. They did not give the returns. But out of those people that were my batchmates, probably 1 or 2 lang kami that still persisted to try again as an entrepreneur. Or 3, siguro. Why did you choose to become a founder still? Because a lot of my peers also said, you know what, I'm okay na. I'm just gonna go back to corporate. I'm not gonna take that risk again.
Did I mention eventually naghiwalay kami nung fiancé ko and
yep, you did.
I haven't seen my daughter for 7 years already because they're already in Germany.
Oh no, I didn't know.
Even at that time, nung magkasama pa kami, I was offered a job, 200,000 pesos a month salary. I couldn't see myself going back. I'm not sure why. Pero palagay ko, yun nga parang siguro nga iba akong mag-isip eh.
Yep.
Hindi ko talaga ma-imagine na babalik. I would rather go through the hardship.
Suffer.
Yes, I would rather suffer, experience the pain, just to live a life of purpose.
Yeah.
Because I already experienced na anong buhay ng may meron. Na-experience ko na yung pag may inisip ako, nandiyan na. Na-experience ko na yun eh. Pero ayoko na ibalik yung emptiness. So, and again, it came to a point na kailangan ko pang tumira sa shared space na condominium. Dahil ang natira na lang na nagamit ko one balikbayan box.
Wow.
Pero I think yung experience na yan, it shaped me as a founder of how to be resilient and at the same time becoming humble.
Yes.
Of course, nung una, di ba, lalakad ka, niisip ko, baka yung mga dati kong tao, o yung mga office mate ko dati, nandyan sa isang kotse, nakikita, naglalakad lang ako, nakakahiya. Pero may narinig kasi akong isang talk dun sa feast from Brother Buwe. Sabi niya, there's only two opinions that should matter. The opinion of your creator, God, sa'yo, and your opinion about yourself. So right now, even if you see me around walking, sasakay ako sa MRT, kahapon lang, ganito, kasi I had a meeting, that's fine. Yung rock bottom na yon, I'm so grateful because binago niya kung sino ako. Unlike before, I always want to be wearing branded clothes, dapat laging bago. So, I'm so grateful na pinagdaanan ko yun kasi kung hindi, sabi nga ng isang farmer, sir, nung una kang pumupunta dito sa amin, naka 4x4 ka na pogi. Bakit ngayon, 2-wheel na lang, nakamotor na lang kasi ako pag rumurot. So, sabi niya, palagay ko sir, mataba ang puso mo pero ang wallet mo payat. Sa akin naman, it's not a problem because I think this journey, as long as I'm learning and I get to accept that I need to make pivot until such time I get to find that product market fit.
Yeah.
And I'm not insane.
No.
People who are insane keeps on doing the same thing over and over. And
expecting different results.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. I keep on changing my approach. Baon ko yung learning. And then I iterate. So that's how I evolve as a founder. Pero very important yung change in character.
For sure.
Kasi kung puro branded pa rin, mayabang ka pa rin, there's no way you can empathize with farmers.
No. And this is the common trait across entrepreneurship. That's why, whoever's listening to this, whoever's going to watch this, what you see in these CEO entrepreneurs, na influencers that you see, that's not the real entrepreneurs, guys. Because I do not know a solid, credible entrepreneur that has been through the valley or near death, or we call it NDEs, or near death experiences in a startup that came out more mayabang. Entrepreneurship, bar none. Nobody, walang ligtas eh. Everybody goes through this. it will humble you. And if the effect it makes you more mayabang, flashier, there's something wrong with that. That's not how it is. 95 to 99% of entrepreneurs talk like this. It humbles you because it's, again, the reason why we do what we do is not just about money. Of course, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, we want the money, but that's not the first why. Like for me, I like doing my own shit. What gives me purpose is I created this whole thing. I created an industry. Podcasting wouldn't be what it is if I didn't chip in. That's enough. Of course, I want the money. I'm not gonna stop. Onti na lang eh. I wanna get there. But entrepreneurship, as you become more seasoned, it makes you humbler. That's what it does. And again, entrepreneurship, the one thing that's constant across the board is failure. I don't care how good you are. Even the best of the best entrepreneurs, they're rich not just in revenue, but they're rich in failure. And failure, the right effect of it should make you humble, not make you more flashy. Like I have these cars, I have whatever. Huh? It just doesn't make sense. The best entrepreneurs I know are the humblest, less flashiest, and the most giving people in the world. Right? Because they're selfless. Entrepreneurship is a selfless venture. Because, for example, a normal entrepreneur, twice a month, let's just say you don't have enough money. Let's just say you only have 100K pesos, kunwari 100K can cover either your salary, your own expenses, or let's just say your burn or your OPEX is 100K. What do you think would an entrepreneur choose if they had 100K in cash left? Himself or his bills or his people's sueldo? 99.9. Not even a question. It's always the team. So tell me how selfish that is. Because I don't, only a few, I'm not saying that everyone does it, but the real entrepreneurs would choose the team over themselves. And this is a constant struggle every single month, twice a month. That happens. So again, I love the journey and I love the learnings because this is why I wanted you on the show, because you already have these learnings. Because if you're a founder and you're listening to this right now and you're going through that little valley of death that everybody goes through it, you're not alone. We're all through that. And by the way, if you've gone through that, it's not a guarantee that you won't go there again. You just know the playbook, how to go out of that rut again.
In fact, if I may add, I'm not sure if this is crazy, but even if, for example, this fails and I die, I'm all good.
Okay lang, diba?
Because at least I live a life based on my purpose. And hopefully this is something that I can also pass on to my daughter. Now, when you try to find a career, find your purpose.
Correct.
Use your career to find your purpose.
And that can be done. That's what entrepreneurship gives naman. Yun lang. It's like you're playing a game and you chose the hardest mode. Lowest probability to succeed. Pero the trade-off is you're gonna you really find a lot of purpose and then self-worth coming from it. This is very selfless, and again, as crazy as this may sound, that's why this is not for everyone.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Masarap siya gawin eh. It's something that I enjoy doing. I wake up every day, regardless of how shitty the situation is, wanting to do what I do. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Okay, now let's continue to this with the story. So, Farmvocacy pre-pandemic, you did this, and then you joined Idea Space. How did you get exposed to the startup ecosystem? And because again, this is very impact driven. How did you get exposed to there's a tech startup ecosystem pala and whatnot? And what attracted you to want to be part of it?
So I was feeling in terms of increasing the revenue from the organic fertilizer business. So I said, I don't have a mentor. Nobody's guiding me. So maybe, and then I came up with this, I found a startup also in the same space. Capital, of course, Ruel.
Yeah, Ruel.
Then I said, ang ganda ng business niyo. Tapos, nagpipitch pala sila. Paano ba makasali dyan? May mga mentor pala dyan.
Yep.
Play kaya ako dyan. So, prior to applying, I went to AIM. And then, at the time, na-reject agad ako.
Oh.
Kasi nag-present ako ng si Alwin. Nandito pa si Alwin. So sabi niya, I don't think your startup will fly.
What?
Parang, I don't take no for an answer, di ba?
Yari ka, Alwin.
Sino to? Sige, ayusin ko nga to. So, and then I didn't give up. I applied for ADS Space. And then eventually we were able to also become a cohort of AIM Dado Banatao. And ever since then, sabi ko, ang dami ko natututunan whenever I join incubator and accelerator program.
Yeah.
And that's the only purpose why every year I would always at least once or one program apply. Because I think it benefits me if I have a mindset of having a continuous learning mindset. So, yeah, that's why I joined the idea space. I learned now, oh my God, talagang after employment, feeling mo kasi, hindi, I work for a multinational company, I can do this, I know sales and marketing, only to find out that
it's just not one part of the puzzle. The puzzle is so complex, right? Now, last question before we take our last break. You mentioned that you always iterate Farmvocacy, right? When you started, it's a totally different thing to what it eventually became when you joined Idea Space. Walk me through those iterations and the learnings in between of why you chose to reiterate and pivot.
So, our main objective is to increase farmers' income. And of course, also by doing that, make profit for Farmvocacy.
Yeah.
So that's why Farmvocacy came from two words, farmer advocate. But it has to be sustainable. If we want to sustain production of food, we also need to sustain ourselves.
Correct.
As a startup, enable for us to grow. So, whenever I sell fertilizer to farmers, some of them would say, this is beneficial. I was able to increase my yield. But some farmers would say, I don't see the difference. It's just an added cost. So I came to realize that applying fertilizer is only one component. You need good pest management, good water management, you need budgeting, etc., etc. So good seeds, for example. So I started going through training with Phil Rice, understanding what are the technical side of really increasing farmers' yield.
Got it.
So there are 9 components. And then after understanding that, I tried to go deep in empathizing with farmers. Ano ba yung major problem nila? First, the reason why they cannot increase their yield is because there's no one providing technical support. So when I decided to provide, it's not enough to sell fertilizer. I need to provide a warm body to work with a farmer day in and day out to guide them how to increase yield using those 9 components. Second, normally, during the time of harvest, the price of palay, like today, 8 or to 13 pesos, when your production cost is 14 pesos, lugi. Di ba?
Yeah.
So, they cannot sell their produce at the right time.
Correct.
Kasi nanggaling sila sa utang. Before they even plant a single seed, they are already
negative
in
na.
debt. So, I need to provide them financing immediately, no? So that they can pay their loan sharks.
Yeah, and those loan sharks give out really crazy interest rate. Now what?
5 to 10% per month.
Ooh.
Imagine. So, yung learning ko doon, it's not enough to sell farm inputs. And then you need to put warm body to work with the farmer. You need to help farmers to get away from that loan shark. Kasi yun yung cycle of poverty.
Yep.
And yung loan shark, siya rin ang bibili ng palay. At a price na siya magdidictate. So, sabi ko, I'm grateful with PLDT and SMART for helping me out, developing that proof of concept.
Yep.
Now, what if we get to train farmers, we get to provide them the farm inputs, and then yung bibili is PLDT and SMART. So we were able to pilot that. So, and then, sabi ko, wait, hindi enough. Kasi, paano ito magiging scalable? Eh, syempre, di ba, hindi naman lahat ng company kaya kong i-close for that model. So, I need the bank to be part of the ecosystem. And syempre, yung bangko, para makapagpautang, they need collateral.
Right.
Yung farmer, wala namang asset. So, what's the best collateral that we can provide? It's their harvest. Pero, sabi ng bangko, that's why they don't do this. How sure are we na yung harvest nandyan pa rin and hindi yan mabubukbuk?
Correct.
So, we need to solve yung storage. And that's why we partnered with an American company, GrainPro, to provide that storage. So right now, we're in the stage of piloting in 5 provinces: Kalinga, Isabela, Nueva Ecija, Pangasinan, Oriental Mindoro, and Occidental Mindoro. So that's 6. So, is it perfect? Not yet. Parang 5 beses ko na hinalikan yung Valley of Death eh.
Suki ka na din? Suki ka na din?
Okay. So, I think as long as the founder doesn't give up and he gets to eat, the startup won't die. And it's hard to find a co-founder. I'm grateful enough to found somebody. His name is Leo.
Shout out, Leo. Let's give him his flowers.
Of course. Ang hirap maghanap ng co-founder. Kasi, kunyari, imbitahan mo employee. Security ang inuupuan nun eh. So, ang hirap nun. Pero with this guy, he resigned from work in 2014.
Okay.
Started putting up his own drugstore.
Okay.
So, may entrepreneur mindset na.
Okay.
So, right now, we work together. Ang expertise kasi niya, farmer engagement. Kasi galing din siya Syngenta. So, farmer engagement. So, to find a co-founder, it took me 5 years. That's really hard. Ang dami nang dumating at nawala. Kasi this is a crazy job.
No, and you're right eh. It's easy to recruit. Hey, I'll recruit you. I'll pay you X amount. Ito yung benefits, blah, 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 blah.
Buti nga kung you pay them eh.
Yeah.
I don't pay.
So co-founder is like, hey, are you crazy? Do you want to join me? We're going to suffer together. And I'm not even sure if we're going to go there together. We're going to win together, but join me. So that's why it's so difficult.
Difficult. Only people who can see what I see are willing to go through the trenches and feel the pain.
Yep. And not quit. Not leave you hanging.
Yeah. So okay lang siya. Sakay kami ng bus. Tricycle kami. Pupunta sa farmer. That's okay. So,
Galing.
Yeah. Yun ang journey namin.
That's amazing. All right. Now let's take our last break. And when we come back, we'll obviously talk about the journey, the ups and downs, and obviously the lessons of Farmboxy. And of course, the story that Vincent wants to talk about, which is the shell Livewire experience and whatnot. And what was that like pre, during, and after? And obviously what they're up to now in Farm Boxy. But let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey hustlers, before we resume the episode, let me tell you a very quick secret. Do you guys ever wonder how we're able to consistently release episode after episode here in Hustle Share without missing a date over the past 3 years? Well, it's not just pure hustle, because I'm also running my podcast along with me running my startup full time. Now, for some of you who have listened to this podcast, you guys very well know that I created a startup that is designed to help the best podcasters in Southeast Asia to realize their full potential, which is called Podcast Network Asia. And over the past couple of years, we've achieved quite a lot in P&A, helping hundreds of podcasters create world-class episodes consistently. However, what we realize is that we are not really solving the real problem of all podcasters in the world if we're not going to productize the thing that we're very good at, which is helping podcasters solve the two main pain points of a podcaster, which is number one, nobody really likes to edit their own show. Especially if you're listening to your own voice. Just like me, I cringe a lot. Having to listen to my voice for 3 to 4 hours just to release a 1-hour episode. It's no fun. And then the other thing is that most podcasters, just like me, are absolutely clueless on how to properly grow their show, which is something that we have perfected in Podcast Network Asia. So we've decided to put this all in one product that helps any podcaster in the world create world-class shows that people will love and will continuously grow. And that's why we created Pod Machine. Pod Machine is the most affordable podcast subscription service that helps you with your podcasting needs. We've got everything from audio production, crafting designs, and marketing and growth support. So as a podcaster, you can now just focus on the thing that matters the most, creating great content for your listeners. So if you are an existing podcaster or someone that actually wants to create their podcast now, no need to worry. You got a founder's discount by listening here on Hustle Share. So sign up now at podmachine.com. And aside from the free trial that you're going to get as a new user, I'm throwing in another one free edit as soon as you sign up for just as low as $49.99 USD a month to start creating a consistent and world-class podcast. Again, that's podmachine.com and use the code HustleShare to get your founder discount. So if you have friends that are podcasters and if you want to have a podcast just like this, y'all know what to do. So just go and talk to you guys in Pod Machine.
And we're back in the break. We are still with Vincent Mendoza, who then told us that he's a Suki of the Valley of Death instead of life. Hey, I didn't see you as much there. I'm there all the time. What are you talking about? You didn't even knock to my on my room sa Valley of Death. I'm the mayor of the Valley of Death in Startup Life, okay? I'm always there. One mistake
Suki ka
away.
rin pala.
I'm the mayor, okay? Hindi lang suki, I'm the mayor. Doon ako lagi. That's my domain, bro.
Nagkakasali silang tayo.
Yun, ang bilis mo lang kasi. I'm there all the time. But I want to ask first muna about the Shell Livewire experience. Because you said that there earlier during the episode na this is where the startup life, even regardless of how many times you go to the Valley of Death, there's a sarap moment. I always describe it. Out of 10 days, you go to 9 out of days is hell. 9 out of 10 days is hell. But there's one day where everything aligns and everything's good that thwarts all the bullshit that you have to go through during those 9 days that you were in hell or you were in the Valley of Death with me. There's a one day na, offset na ulit. Everything is worth it. Walk me through the Shell Livewire experience and then how did you say na, okay, I'll let God do the rest?
Bago pa matanggap sa Shell Livewire.
Ayan. Okay.
There's a story here na of course, when I applied for the program, I was just asked, no, just apply. I think you're a good fit. That was March of 2023.
Okay.
Just apply. I think you're a good fit. There's an opportunity for you to benefit from this. And then sabi ko, ano bang meron dyan pagka nag-apply ka? Diba? Meron kang
Gas. Free gas.
pagka natanggap ka dito sa first 3 months, you have an allowance of 100,000. Pag ganun ako eh.
Uy.
Diba? Kasi
Ginhawa.
pag pera ko eh. Yung value of debt, tinatawag na ako eh.
Yeah, oy. Come back, Vincent. Come to Papa.
Ganun eh. So, sabi ko, ganun ba? Paano ba mag-apply dyan? So, nag-apply ako. Kunya nagkakamali, parang 30, tapos down to 11 yata or something. And then, sabi nila, okay, tapos na yung pre-screening na live pitch. At i-announce namin yung top 3. So yung top 3 ang makakakuha ng allowance. Importante ito sa akin. Di ba? So, Friday night, nagpe-pray na ako kay Lord. Lord, pag hindi ako natanggap dito, uuwi ako ng Mindoro. At pag umuwi ako ng Mindoro, na-stuck na naman ako doon. Alam mo kaya ayoko sa Mindoro?
Bakit?
Una-una, tapos ng pandemic.
Okay.
Wala nang tao doon.
Okay.
Pangalawa, having the ecosystem of being exposed with a founder, correct, very important. Kasi you need to talk to people who are also going through the challenges and you feel like you're not alone.
Correct.
Naalala ko ng pandemic pag nasa bahay ako, attend ako ng Idea Space, di ba? Sasabihan ng brother ko, Kuya, ano ba yung ginagawa mo? Tagal-tagal mo na ginagawa yan. Ba't di ka nalang bumalik dun sa pinagtatrabahuhan mo dati? Laki ng sweldo mo dun. Everybody's questioning you.
Yep.
And feeling mo, may mali ba sa akin?
Yeah.
Pero nobody understands you except a founder.
Correct.
That's why I like being within the community.
Correct.
So, noon time na yon, that was Friday, sabi ko i-announce sa bukas, Lord, nagawa ko yung best ko, and like my dad, I leave it up to you and do the rest.
Okay.
Saturday, hindi in-announce.
Hala.
So, nag-impake na ako ng linggo. Dumating yung announcement. Congratulations, you're part of top 3. Thank you, Lord. Diba? So, of course, I'm grateful to Brain Sparks, to Lyle, to RT. Ang dami ko natutunan doon. Tapos na ako sa AIM. Dami ko natutunan dito sa AIM Dado Banataw. Same with the Idea Space. And nakita ko na iba-iba yung matututunan mo in different programs.
Yep.
So, of course, I wasn't really expecting to win. Basta ako, nagawa ko na yung best ko. Kung ano yung results niyan, I can live with it.
Yep.
No? So, I'm grateful that I won the Shell Livewire. It provided a runway. So, na-miss ako ng kiss ng Valley of Death for a while.
Who you?
May runway eh. Di ba? And then, humihilo sa Valley of after more than a year. Tapos nag-apply kasi ako sa DOST PSIRD May 2024. 2023.
Okay.
Hindi ako natanggap. Sabi, mag-apply ka sa Picard kasi mayroon silang startup grant fund na rin na patatakuhin. So, nag-apply ako ng November 2023. And then, I didn't know na ganun pala kahirap yung process. I had to go to the province to get their endorsement, to the regional technical committee, and then to the DOST directors, and then
flood control. Wala ba?
Sorry.
Okay. Flood control. Kasama ba yung okay. Iba pala.
Iba yan. So, in December 19, 2024, finally, after more than a year and a half, hindi ko nahalikan si Valley of Death.
Uy.
Kasi timely na naman na nag-grant na sa amin yung funding.
Wow.
So, last year, 2024, aside from Shell, I also joined the Luxembourg House of Financial Technology, Catapult Financial Inclusion in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Wherein, nanalo din yung kaibigan natin si Carmina doon.
Wow.
Kami nanalo din.
Wow.
Coup de coeur.
Galing.
French yan, French.
Coup de coeur.
Hindi ko alam kung tama yung aking pronunciation, but tinanong ko, ano po yung panalunan ko? Kasi si Carmina, 10,000 euro.
Okay.
Ano po yung panalunan ko? You won the hearts of the judges.
Wow.
So, ayos ha. So, right now, we are being evaluated for an investment from Luxembourg.
Galing.
And in October, we will be sent to Africa, to Kenya, because...
Bagay yung ano mo dyan. Bagay yung hat mo, bro. Okay.
Buti nga lang, tumatakbo ako eh. Diba? Pero sure, ako pa rin ang last.
Kuya Kim. Okay.
So, why are they sending Farmvoxy there? Because they have 2 alumni nasa agritech space who are now unicorn.
Wow.
Africa. So they said, if you want to expand in Southeast Asia, I think you need to learn from these founders. And so that's where we are now. And
galing.
I'm grateful for all these programs. Iba-iba yung natututunan ko. I'm an introvert, pero whenever I'm with these people, with founders, I get to express myself.
Got it. Okay, I have several questions before I let you go. So I love this journey. I'm rooting for you. Bagay na bagay, your hat in Kenya. I swear you look like a safari guy there. So pretty sure you're gonna do well. And again, there's one thing that's super special when Pinoy makes it out. And you don't just carry Farmvoxy on your shirt. You bring the Philippines with you in the whole startup ecosystem. That's why whenever I go overseas and I get to the chance to talk about what we do here, dude, I'm fucking proud as hell. Because we're not supposed to be here. Pinoys aren't supposed to be on stage being front and center talking about what we do well. So the path I take is podcasting, but we're worldwide recognized. And every single time, dude, I have a Gilas Pilipinas shirt. I wear it whenever I go to a conference. Proud. I'm a Filipino. I'm not here to be an audience. I'm not here to be whatever. We have a major ambag in this whole ecosystem. And we're worldwide recognized in what we do. Na kaya pala ng Pinoy. Kaya ng Pinoy startup founder na to compete. Because majority of the time, a lot of our peers here, and this is what I challenge. I always say this in the podcast. That yes, okay, you have a startup, but it's not enough that you create a startup and you're happy to solve a problem. Let's just say, what if you just say Farmvoxy Mindoro lang? It won't move the needle because this problem exists everywhere. In order for you to have a chance to win, you have to see this at a regional, at least not just Philippine scale, regional scale or a global scale. You have to think outside. Connect those dots as the whole vision, because a lot of the startup founders, especially our own, they only want to solve the problem in their backyard. That problem exists everywhere, by the way.
Yes.
And you need to conquer the world. Hindi enough na, I want to solve the Mindoro problem. Because you could have easily won Mindoro, Vince. Easy. Pero again, this whole thing, in order for a Pinoy to win, the world is your oyster, right? Because that's the only chance you're gonna get. The support that you're gonna need in order to win in here is not gonna come from here, unfortunately. Kasi nasa flood control yung pere. Okay, so you have to find that elsewhere. And in order for you to also really find a solution, it's also not gonna come from here. You have to see and be inspired by how the others in the world who have similar problems are able to solve it. So I'm super excited for you because when you come back, you will not just have a rhinoceros, a zebra, a lion, a cheetah with you. You have all the gonna be a whole nother perspective, and what you're gonna learn is gonna be special. But I have several questions because I love the grit that you just go with, and that's literally, that's confidence. That's irrational because you have to bet in yourself. You have to believe in yourself every single time that things will do better, despite how many times I've seen you down there in the Valley of Death in my town that I run. I want to know every single time you go to the Valley of Death or you get close or kumakatok siya, what do you learn about yourself and how are you able to get out?
I've experienced yung rock bottom already.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't credit myself na ako yung nag-alis doon. I think, actually, I believe na because of that rock bottom, I was able to hold on to something that's permanent. And yun yung naturo sa akin ng magulang ko eh. Pagka may challenges, you have to rely on someone, and that is our creator.
Yeah.
Na nagawa mo na yung part mo eh. He is in control. I'm not. I'm just here to be a good steward, to do my best. And tuwing dumarating yan, I just have to live in faith, and lagi naman nangyayari so far.
Yeah.
Hindi pa naman ako miyakap at sinakal ni Valley of Death.
Come here, I'm the mayor.
So, I think yung foundation na yun na naituro ng magulang ko, ano yun yung lagi kong pinangahawakan.
Got it.
Every time I'm there.
Yeah.
Tsaka, sinabi nga nila, di ba? You're already at the deepest rock bottom. There's no way but to go up.
Correct. Yuping-yupi yung sagot mo, ha? Okay. Nowhere but up. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. No, and the other thing too is that when you hit rock bottom, and I've done that several times, I thought when there was a rock bottom, meron pa pala. It's just a deeper rock bottom. The only way you can go out is not by relying on God, but relying on your peers. Because that's also where you'll see who your real friends are.
Yes.
Because everybody's your friend when you're winning, but when you're losing, there's only going to be a few hands left. And that's why now I'm all very even-keeled. I'm very borderline jaded because I've been through this whole thing above. The people that will say, congratulate you, you'll find out they're the ones who's telling everybody, "Wait, isn't Ron dead?" and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you hear that? That's like, okay, let him think we're dead. But the ones that I rely on to help give us a lending hand will always be there reaching down. Now we got you. And I want to be that person also to a lot of people who are they're in that position because I have and these people are fellow founders, by the way, that will never leave us down there. That's the power of having founder friends.
Good thing you mentioned that, because you may see me as a solo founder for the longest time, but behind the scene, there are a lot of people that's helping me out. My board of director, Weck, was already there. He's based in Laos.
Wow.
Pero he's been with me since 2020. A good friend of mine is also a board of director, Jai. He's based in Vietnam.
Okay.
He's been supportive kahit na parang, di ba, tagal-tagal ng journey eh. And then yung aming CFO, he's based in San Francisco. His name is Bong. Anak ng farmer, pero lahat ng kanyang inahawakan as a fractional CFO. Mga big tech startup.
Wow.
Naniniwala siya dun sa future eh. So, he's been there, believing kahit na Sabi ko, hinalikan ko na naman si Bali. Alam mo yun, may mga taong naniniwala sa'yo. And may isa akong bookkeeper na umaabot na sa point, syempre bookkeeper siya Si Maisel, nakikita niya yung financials. Minsan, Vince, yung pera natin nanalo kami sa Shell Livewire. Sabi ko, pwede na kaya natin pa-in-cash to? Kung alam lang nila yung pera natin. At that time, nangungutang na ako sa kanya.
Wow.
Nung mga, before nung Shell Livewire, may utang na ako sa bookkeeper ko. Wow. Tapos si Alpine, yung accountant namin, nakikita nila yung financials. But these people have always been there believing na maganda yung purpose ng ginagawa natin So, kailangan mo talaga ng hindi kahit mo mag-isa.
Correct. No, this is a team sport.
Yeah.
How big is your team? How many employees do you have?
Oh, we don't. Me and myself and I. So, 3 kami.
Grabe.
Yeah, but yung nag-execute ngayon, kaming 2 ni Leo.
Okay.
And then I have a bookkeeper and accountant. Tapos yung 2 board of director and a CFO. And then recently I invited a CTO na taga Candaba din at nakikita rin niya yung plight ng farmer.
Love it.
So that's your team. And of course I also have a board of advisors.
Oh, and then dude, that size allows you to be quick. I remember there's a lot of things especially in my first startup. Man, I did a lot of Hail Mary shots. A lot of them missed. Some of them went through because we were small. A team of 2, team of 3. And then we were able to do that. So the Valley of Death, very, very difficult. I'll tell you a bit about Valley of Death. I'm always there. Our runway for the longest time, I think 2023 to 2024. A good 18-month or 14-month stretch. Our runway was 0.5 months or 1 month. Vince, I had 50 employees.
Wow.
Imagine the stress that I have to go through making sure that I make sure that aabot yung sweldo. Because one thing I realized is that, man, these guys that trusted us to be their employer, there's a multiple. There's a multiple of 3 or 5 people that depend on who I'm paying in that team to deliver, because that will pay for tuition, that will pay for food, everything else. And if I fail them, we're fucked. Awa ng Diyos naman. I'm there in the Valley of Death, but we always pull through. Right?
Great to hear.
Grabe. Pero the one that doesn't get to eat and is always struggling to make ends meet is myself. Sobrang daming utang na ng PNA sa akin. It's PNA who owns me. Not owns me. Yes, owns me rin. Pwede. Okay, owes me. But again, I serve it because I wanted this to be built. This is exactly what I had in my mind. And eventually things will be worth it. Kahit sobrang hirap, per se. You just need to really plow through. Because I owe it to the guys that believe in the company. And then, in fairness, our investors also, nobody threw us under the bus. So I'm forever grateful. Because it's so easy to count us out. Wala naman yan. Deads na yan. But whenever I see, are we dead? Because I see 50 people relying on this company as their livelihood. I see all these shows working and as a main means, and they're great. So, yun, that when you're in the Valley of Death, you'll really realize who your real friends are. Because sometimes all it takes is like, bro, I'm rooting for you. You got this. Because there are days when you're in the Valley of Death where you don't even know if you can still pull through. Kaya pa ba?
Yeah.
Right? Like, hello, what the fuck am I doing?
Tsaka masarap din yung yung like for example, si Vec. Pag alam niya tahimik ako, text lang yan. Kumusta ka na? So alam nila.
Just checking in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, founders are like that, and they'll pull through. But I wanna know one last thing, Vince. For our peers who are again probably suke in the Valley of Death, what would be your advice? Because you now have a direct path to success. And yan, yung Kenya trip mo, I'm rooting for you. Please take a lot of pictures, share it to the ecosystem. Not to flex, but to show hope. There's some people in Startup PH, fucking shit. You're gonna go there to flex. The worst people you can flex to is your fucking fellow founders. Kasi damay-damay tayo dito. That's why I hate it when people are trying to one-up other founders. Like, bro, we're not competition. We're a fucking ecosystem. We should be the one supporting each other, not pulling each other down. Now, just because somebody's winning doesn't mean you're dimming your light. They're overshining you. They're not. There's enough space for everybody to win. Right? So, and somebody flexes, it's not flex or sharing. It's not to share to flex. It's share to give hope. Especially kung katabi mo sa Valley of Death. Yung seatmate mo. Di ba? Paking shit. There's just founders that really need to learn that if somebody's shining, everybody will have the chance to shine. Doesn't mean now you have to one up. Right? But what for those people who are in the Valley of Death, because you've been there several times, what would be your advice?
Reach out. Because, like, I'll give you an example. Noong time na nakahag na sa akin si Valley of Death, I went to AIM to speak to Prim Paipon. And Prim, I think I need to give it up. And then he gave an advice. And up to this day, I'm still here. That was like before the Shell Livewire in 2023.
Wow.
So that was, I think, around April 2023. So reach out to our mentors, reach out to people you trust, to founders who've been there. Because you'll never know kung ano yung ma-advise nila. And it's okay to be vulnerable. We're human, no?
Yep.
And one thing that you should always, of course, I'm not saying na pag alam mo na talagang mukhang walang need for your solution, either you pivot, never persevere kung alam mo namang wala nang pag-asa, di ba?
Yeah.
So it's either you pivot or if it's a failure, then there's always a chance to start anew. But always go back to your core.
Yeah.
What is your purpose? And at the end of the day, we're just a steward. So what we are given, kung may expiration date lang yung kamay natin eh. Kung kailan tayo mamatay eh, di ba? Kaso wala eh. But at the end of the day, even if it fails, as long as you do it for the benefit of others, and of course, you need to make sure that nakikinig ka rin sa mga mentors mo, sa mga founders, reach out. Always reach out. So that's my advice.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Vince. Such a super duper amazing episode. But before I let you go, again, you're in up and up. You're going to go to Kenya. Things are going to be very, very exciting for you. What should people look out for in Farmvocacy? And if they want to work with you and if they want to, find a way to collaborate, where do they go and how do they do that?
Yeah, we're still in the pilot stage. We're running a commodity-backed financing in those provinces that I've mentioned. If you are a big company who would want to participate in reducing carbon emission from rice, reach out to us. We can deliver rice to your employee's house using electric vehicle. And then we can partner together for your sustainability initiative. So you can reach out to the Tito email.
There you go.
Vincent.mendoza@farmvocacy.com. And of course, Sir, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to share our journey. And we wish you the best also with your startup.
Thank you.
Any founder who'd like to reach out, baka papunta pa lang kayo kay Valley of Death, maligaw kayo, pwede ko kayo i-guide.
Yeah. Damay-damay dito sa baba. Okay. A lot of them are here. Well, dami namin dito. Okay? But again, WAGMI. We're all going to make it. There you go. Thank you, Vince. But before I let you go, follow us whatever podcast app you're listening to. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. If you see a subscribe button, please just subscribe. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep doing this forever and ever until I can I can't do it anymore. And maybe by that time, AI na yung nagpa-podcast at that point. But if it did say some jargon, it's gonna be in the show notes on hustleshare.com. If you also want to support us, just like our premium supporters, it's gonna be on premium.hustleshare.com. Again, Vincent, thank you very much. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.